All right. Welcome in, guys. I'm Chris, and this is Phil.
It's always so awkward trying to figure this out.
Well, I'm Phil, and this is Chris.
Yep.
We are the two halves of ClutchKick. So what you got to understand is sometimes you are feeling like half of a human being and need to think about things like fuel efficiency and economy, and I understand that. But when you are feeling less than adequate, car manufacturers know, so they give you fun stuff with 4 cylinders that gets good gas mileage and insurance is cheap. I had to start with the honorable mention. So plug your ears if you wear Real Street t-shirts or vape, because this is going to hurt you. And for some reason, I don't know why. Well, actually, I know exactly why. WRX STIs and WRXs and Imprezas didn't make the list.
Yeah, I don't know how that works out.
Didn't make the list. Well, we're going to find out, Chris.
We'll find out. I'm on the edge of my seat.
You can't sit on the edge. There's armrest. But at number 10 is a car that you probably see a lot of down by where you work because douchebags drive it.
Right, of course.
But a very specific douchebag car is the CLA class?
Yeah.
So it's that car with the AMG engine. In fact, I think you may work with somebody who drives one of these, didn't you?
Probably.
Or no, you were somewhere where you were in a Mercedes CLA.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago. Was that the AMG one?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's this car.
Okay.
So at one point or another, this car had the highest specific output of a production engine on Earth, which means that per cylinder, or per liter, or per whatever, per cubic centimeter, it made the most power out of every engine in production, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
When it entered production, it made something like a lot of horsepower,
Yeah.
over 350 horsepower. It's at 350 horsepower. The new ones make 375. It's since been surpassed in specific power output.
So, and this is a 4-cylinder
car. But it's got a turbo.
365 some odd.
Yeah, I don't even
horsepower.
think I wrote it down. It's a classy sedan.
From the factory, though.
Yeah, with a grenade under the hood.
So what's number 9? Let's hear
number 9 is the EK Civic Type R.
Okay.
So I know my favorite generation of Civic is the EG.
Right.
Which is that one that your neighbor had in the hatch.
And the hatch, right.
So this would be a generation after that, maybe. So the reason this one sits at number 9 is because it is more ugly than its stablemate, the Acura Integra. And it came with a little bit crappier of an engine, but it was still a cool car. Type R's always have this kind of like fizz about them.
Yeah.
It's got something to make you want to drive them. It's driver's cars.
Right.
And Honda knows how to do that, or they knew how to do that. But, a pretty cool car. Probably going to appreciate in value. Classic car. Every Honda on this list I would not buy personally. Let me fill you in on that. But they are important cars and also pretty cool. Number 8.
Okay.
Number 8's one near and dear to my heart, even though I've never owned one of these, but will at some point when I'm really ready to commit self-harm.
Right.
Is DSMs.
Okay.
So
no doubt.
When I bought my car, DSM was on the list.
Right.
And thankfully you talked me out of buying it.
Yeah, that was probably the best decision.
Something
you could have made.
What other car? What other car? Let's make a short list here.
Right.
It can make 800 horsepower and do 40 plus pounds of boost and never leave the damn start line.
Right.
Because it shared an input shaft on the transmission.
Right. No, I can't think of a single one.
Well, I can't.
Well,
it's later on the list.
Oh, okay.
It's later on the list.
7. Yeah,
7.
Let's hear 7.
Okay. 7 is going to be kind of interesting because it's the brother to number 9. Or the stablemate that we were talking about. The one that it's pretty, or this one's prettier.
So the Acura.
The Integra Type R.
Right.
So this one's at number 7 for one of those 2 reasons. It's one of them, it's a better looking car.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
The second one is that this came instead of with the B16, which was a B series 1.6 liter. It is a B18, so it comes
another
200 cc.
A little bit
more
power.
beef.
Yeah.
A little beef. Once again, this is a VTEC engine, naturally aspirated Honda stuff. So this is another engine that revs past 8,000 RPMs.
God, that's insane.
Which is really crazy.
Well, that's why they give all these Honda owners shit for them sounding like a vacuum cleaner.
Because it is a vacuum cleaner.
Well,
it's a giant air pump.
At 8,000 RPM, what else can you sound like?
Yeah.
So moving on to number 6.
Number 6, yeah.
What do we got?
This is going to be the Nissan S Chassis 180SX. So the S Chassis overseas, you could get a 180SX, which was kind of a misnomer because 180 would generally mean 1.8 liter. What came with the SR20.
Okay.
Which
is
that's
the one you want.
That's the one you want.
For sure.
Nissan also was really good at putting the RB engines and stuff we didn't get.
Right.
And they did make the RB20, which was a 2-liter 6-cylinder. But
Okay.
this was just a more accessible, more important to the world car.
Right.
Very few cars got the RB20, and it's going to be...
So with them making all those cars overseas, how does the right-hand drive, like if I wanted to buy a 240 with a SR motor in it?
You'd have to import one. So if you wanted to do a 180 here, you'd probably buy a 240 roller.
Right.
And there's guys selling SR20s on eBay,
Okay.
like these JDM engine importers
Right.
of San Clemente, California. They probably got them for $750 to $1,500 because they
Right.
made derivatives of it. It wasn't just like one SR20
Oh,
fits all.
okay.
There was the black top and the white top and the red top or something like that. And they all
Yeah.
had different like compression and turbos and
Interesting.
made varying amounts of power, but fundamentally are all the same engine.
Right.
This is supposed to be, or is not supposed to be polarizing, but I understand I may have some polarizing opinions
it's,
there.
yeah.
So, it's fun to like, this is my top 10,
Right.
but it's almost definitely not your top 10. And it's definitely not your top 10. And if it is,
Well, if your top 10 is different, then comment that below for sure.
put those top 10 cars in, or you can call me a bunch of names. Make your own video, and I'll watch it. At number 5 is the E30 M3,
Okay.
which I think we all like.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all have a spot in our heart for an E30 M3.
Yeah, those fender flares and the BBS mesh wheels. There was
Yeah.
something about that configuration that was a lot of like just polarizing. So number 4
Yeah, number 4.
is one Evo in particular, and it's the Evo 9.
Okay.
And I think that Chris and I spend a lot of our time in the car community around Evos, so maybe we have a little bit of bias here.
Probably.
Some of the first shoots we did with people were with Evos,
Yep.
and kind of like made our friends in that sector. So the 9 is the one I chose.
Yeah.
So
That's my favorite one too.
I mean,
I gotta agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll cut to some pictures we've taken with these cars, but I think that the reason I like the 9 the most is that it doesn't have that little goofy triangle in the grill like the 8s have, and the 10 just doesn't.
No, 10 doesn't do it for me. Not at all.
And the reason that the Evos make this list over the Subarus is twofold, two or threefold, is that Mitsubishi only had the Evo. Mitsubishi had to throw all of their bolts, all their money, everything
Right.
they could put together into this Evo.
Yeah.
Because what the hell other cars did they make? That Miev thing? You ever seen one of them things? It looks like a freaking roller skate.
What is it? The Gallant?
The Gallant, yeah, the Gallant. Sorry if that irritates you, but
We're not actually sorry.
he's right. What do we are moving into the top 3 here. So the next 2 are actually cars that I'm not sure you're going to recognize. So this will be fun. So are you familiar with Group B Rally at all?
Nope.
Okay.
Not a chance.
Group B Rally was something the FIA, which kind of the international motorsport governing body, had a category of racing called Group B. So there was Group A, Group B, Group C. There's a bunch of different like groups, and Group B just so happened to be basically like rally driving with no rules.
Okay.
So you had to make 500 cars. They're called homologation cars, like you do in most race series. Most manufacturers didn't really even follow that.
Yeah.
And the car had to, in race trim, look like the original.
Okay.
So they would make these tube chassis, fiberglass bodied, fire spitting monsters.
Gosh.
And then the engines were capped at 2 liters.
Okay.
With a turbo on them. I think they could be bigger if they were naturally aspirated, but no one played that game.
Right.
So Ford, in this period of time, decided that they were going to build an all-wheel drive, mid-engined, basically like a prototype car. Like this was very they were only building it for rally.
Okay.
And that was called the RS200, and they made an evolution model of it.
That is bad shit.
This was kind of the norm with these Group B cars, but still.
That's insane.
Really insane, right?
Yeah, absolutely crazy.
Really insane.
And we're going to throw pictures up for everybody to see.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Another car
Number
that
2.
I'm going to be ecstatic if you recognize this one, because this is my favorite one on the list.
Okay.
Is the Mercedes.
Yep.
190E.
Nope.
All right. Well, we lost it. It's a 190E 2.3 Cosworth Evo 2.
Okay.
So,
yeah, definitely would have been able to hang there.
Another car that was made pretty famous in Top Gear. This is just kind of like this just looks cool.
Yeah.
To me. Do you remember the car that Michael used to drive, that Mercedes?
Yeah.
Kind of looked like that.
Okay.
Very similar body style, but it was low, had big ass wheels on it, and a wing.
What the heck?
Yeah.
And that's how Mercedes shipped it that way?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Well, they shipped it.
Right.
You could if you could get your hands on one.
way.
So these cars have started to skyrocket in value. They're well into the six figures. Very cool cars. Same generation vehicle as the E30 M3.
Okay.
Same, like they were built for DTM, which is basically it's German racing, like road racing, and it's they're all like sedans. So these were all used for like road racing. Number one.
Let's hear it.
Number one.
What do we got for number one?
Number one is also from Honda Motor Company. I'm pretty sure that if you're watching this, all 35 of you, you're probably going to be wondering where this one was going to sit on the list. And unfortunately, once again, not a car I'd probably own, probably because I'm too big for it. Speaking of too big for things, when I was making this video, I forgot a car.
Okay.
I forgot a car. So some of you 35 are also probably wondering where the Miata was going to sit on this list.
And, that's a good one.
Unfortunately, I did forget it. So we're going to have an honorable mention at number 1.5 is the Miata. The only reason it does not sit above the S2000 is because it is slower than freaking dog piss.
It is. I can attest to that.
Chris bought one the other day.
I did. I just bought one on Saturday. Yeah. So there's going to be Miata videos.
Are you enjoying it?
I am. I'm enjoying the crap out of it. I never had something so small before.
Yeah.
Dude, the other day.
That's what she said.
And it's just so nimble. It's a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, it's a small car. I mean, there's a following for a reason. Right.
And I've been able to make U-turns in the middle of the road. For wherever I need.
Two-lane road, U-turn.
U-turn.
So
that's only when it says that I'm allowed to.
Yeah, only when it's safe. Street racing isn't okay, kids.
No.
And it's really not okay when you're driving a Miata because you ain't going to win them. But at number one, truly, above number 1.5 is another car at a Honda Motor Company, the S2000. And for, once again, pretty obvious reasons. You know, the AP1 cars revved to over 8,000 RPM.
Right.
Like Redline, I think, was 8,500 or 8,250 RPM on these cars. They made over 200 horsepower. So they weren't slow cars. They were light. They looked nice. They were inexpensive.
Yeah.
Relatively cheap to insure. What else do you want? Driver-focused cockpit, like very just... Honda knew this was like the swan song for true Honda cool.
Yeah.
And you know they were so good because they're still so expensive.
Right.
You're just now can get a car for under $8,000. And it's not going to be a good one.
Yeah. You could probably put $100,000 under the hood of an S2000.
Oh, yeah, man. You start... When you're racing Jettas, though, you might end up getting some kids in trouble.
I like how number one was S2000. I think the Evo could have been a little bit higher, but
could have been higher.
Yeah.
What did we have?
I think Evo could have been number 3.
So, all right. Well, I can understand that. The number 2 and 3, so the two race cars, basically the RS200 and the Cosworth, were both. Those are just kind of like near and dear to my heart. For both of us here at ClutchKick, do yourself a favor and keep it between the ditches, and we'll see you in the next one.
Sounds good. Peace.